It starts as a whisper, not a shout. Maybe it is a slight numbness in your toes when you first wake up in the morning, a sensation like you have been walking on cotton wool. Or perhaps it is that annoying pins and needles feeling in your fingertips that you just shake off and ignore. Then it moves to the mind. A name you have known for 30 years is suddenly gone, just a blank space where a memory used to be. You find yourself standing in the middle of the kitchen, forgetting why you walked in there in the first place. You tell yourself, well, I am just getting older. This is part of the deal. You blame your poor sleep, you blame stress, you blame the natural aging process. But here is the scary part. You might be doing everything right. You eat well, you try to stay active, and every single morning, you dutifully swallow that pink or red vitamin B12 pill, believing you are protected. You trust that little pill to keep your nerves healthy and your mind sharp. But what if I told you that for millions of people over the age of 60, that pill is doing absolutely nothing? What if I told you that due to a few specific biological changes in your body and a few common mistakes in your daily routine, you are effectively starving your nervous system of the one fuel it desperately needs, even though you are taking supplements every single day? It is called hidden deficiency, and it is a silent epidemic. You are swallowing the vitamin, but it is never reaching your cells. It is passing right through you, leaving your brain and your nerves hungry, vulnerable, and slowly degenerating. But the good news, it is entirely fixable. You do not need a miracle cure, you just need to understand the mechanics of your own body. In this conversation, we are going to walk through the 5 critical mistakes that turn your B12 supplement into expensive waste, and exactly how to reverse the damage before it becomes permanent. To understand why this happens, we first need to appreciate that vitamin B12 is not like other vitamins. It is not like vitamin C, which your body absorbs easily and happily. B12 is incredibly high maintenance. It is a large, complex, and heavy molecule. Think of vitamin B12 like a VIP guest trying to get into an exclusive, high-security club. It cannot just walk in the front door. It needs a ticket, it needs a security escort, and it needs the right environmental conditions. If just one thing goes wrong in that chain, if the doorman is missing, or the ticket is the wrong color, the B12 is rejected and flushed out of your system. Most seniors are unknowingly breaking this chain every single morning. And for many of you, it starts with the very first thing you do after you get out of bed. This brings us to the first major hurdle, a mistake that feels so natural. I would bet 90% of you are doing it right now. You wake up, you pour a hot, steaming cup of coffee, and you use that first delicious sip to wash down your morning vitamins. It seems harmless. It seems like a responsible routine. But biologically, you are creating a war zone in your stomach. Here is the thing about coffee. We love it for the energy, but it is also chemically complex. It is packed with compounds called chlorogenic acids and tannins. Now, in a normal context, these are healthy antioxidants. But when they meet B vitamins in your stomach, they act like aggressive bouncers. They bind to the vitamin molecules and prevent them from being absorbed properly. But it gets worse. Coffee is a potent diuretic. It tells your kidneys to flush water out of your system. Since B12 is a water-soluble vitamin, when you drink coffee right alongside it, you are essentially putting your B12 on a high-speed water slide straight out of your body via your bladder. It leaves the system before it ever has a chance to settle into your bloodstream. Furthermore, caffeine speeds up gastric emptying. It makes your stomach dump its contents into the intestines much faster than normal. B12 needs time. It needs to sit in the stomach and interact with specific proteins. If it is rushed through because of your morning brew, it is wasted. I am not asking you to give up your coffee. I wouldn't dare. But you need to change the schedule. Think of B12 and coffee as enemies that cannot be in the same room. The best practice is to take your B12 the moment you wake up on an empty stomach with a full glass of plain water. Then, go shower, get dressed, read the paper. Give it at least 1 hour before that first cup of coffee touches your lips. If you cannot wait that long for caffeine, move your B12 to lunchtime. Just do not let them meet. Now let's imagine you have fixed your timing. You are taking your vitamin with water, but then you look at the bottle itself. This leads us to the second critical error: believing the government standards apply to you. If you look at the back of a standard multivitamin bottle, it will proudly say it contains 2.4 micrograms of B12. Oh, and next to it it says 100% of the recommended daily allowance. You read that and you feel safe. You think, I am getting 100% of what I need. Here is the problem. That number, 2.4 micrograms, was determined based on the needs of a healthy 25-year-old with a cast iron stomach and perfect absorption efficiency. That number is designed to prevent anemia in young people. It was never designed to optimize brain health in seniors. As we age, our stomachs change physically. We develop a condition called atrophic gastritis. It sounds scary, but it is simply the thinning of the stomach lining. It happens to about 30% of people over 60, and often, you won't even feel it. When this happens, your ability to pull nutrients out of food drops dramatically. Giving a senior body 2.4 micrograms of B12 is like trying to fill a swimming pool with a thimble. It is technically water, but it is nowhere near enough to make a difference. There is a concept in nutrition called passive diffusion. Basically, if you flood the system with enough B12, a tiny percentage, about 1%, will seep into the blood simply by pressure, bypassing the complex absorption mechanisms that might be broken. But to get that 1% to be meaningful, you need a massive dose. You need to ignore the recommended daily allowance. It is dangerously low for your age group. Most neurologists and experts in geriatric nutrition recommend that seniors look for doses between 500 and 1,000 micrograms daily. I know, that sounds terrifying. It is hundreds of times the recommended amount. But remember, B12 is water-soluble. You cannot overdose on it. Whatever your body doesn't use, you simply eliminate in your urine. It is safe. But taking too little? That carries the very real risk of permanent nerve damage and cognitive decline. So, let's say you upgrade your dose. You go to the store and buy a high-dose supplement. You feel proactive. This brings us to the third mistake, one that the supplement industry prefers you didn't know about: choosing the wrong form of the vitamin. Supplements are a business, and like any business, manufacturers want to cut costs to maximize profits. That is why the vast majority of B12 supplements on the pharmacy shelf contain a synthetic form called cyanocobalamin. Does that word sound familiar? Cyano. Yes, it is derived from a cyanide molecule. Now, please do not panic. It is not poison and it won't kill you. It is used because it is incredibly stable on the shelf and very cheap to manufacture. But here is the catch. Your body cannot use cyanocobalamin. It is foreign debris. When you swallow it, your liver has to step in, strip away the cyanide molecule, detoxify it, and then convert the remaining B12 into a usable form. This takes energy. It takes enzymatic resources, and as we age, our liver function naturally slows down. We lose the efficiency to do these conversions, so you end up with a lot of unconverted B12 floating around in your blood that your brain cannot actually use. You might get a blood test that shows high B12, but your cells are actually starving because the form is wrong. You want to buy B12 that is already nature identical. You are looking for two specific words on the label. The first is methylcobalamin. This is the active form found in nature. It is pre-converted. Your body recognizes it instantly and can send it straight to your nervous system to repair myelin sheaths and support brain function. The second is adenosylcobalamin, which is fantastic for cellular energy and fighting fatigue. Yes, these active forms cost a few dollars more, but think of it this way. You can buy cheap furniture that requires hours of assembly and missing tools, or you can buy furniture that arrives fully built and ready to use. Treat your body to the fully built version. It makes all the difference. Now we are getting into deeper waters. The fourth mistake is something that isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to manage. It involves the interaction with your other medications. Modern medicine keeps us alive longer, which is a miracle. But nearly every senior I know is taking at least one of two specific categories of drugs: proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux or metformin for blood sugar and diabetes. Here is the tragic irony. You take these drugs to protect your health, but they are silently robbing you of B12. Let's look at acid reflux meds like omeprazole, Nexium, or Prilosec. We take them to stop the burn. But remember, B12 in food is bound tightly to protein. To release it, your stomach needs to be highly acidic. Think of stomach acid as the scissors that cut the B12 free so it can be absorbed. When you take a pill to suppress acid, you are throwing away the scissors. The B12 remains trapped in the food, passes right through your digestion, and exits your body. And studies show that using these drugs for more than 2 years increases your risk of deficiency by 65%. Then there is metformin, the gold standard for type 2 diabetes. It works in the intestines, but it creates a coating that blocks the specific receptors meant to catch B12. It's like putting tape over a keyhole. The key just won't go in. I am absolutely not telling you to stop your medication. Do not do that. Those medications are keeping you safe. But if you are on these drugs, you must accept that you are at high risk. You cannot just take a multivitamin and hope for the best. You need to have a conversation with your doctor. Specifically, ask them to check your B12 levels and, more importantly, your methylmalonic acid levels every 6 months. You have to advocate for yourself because often these nutritional side effects are overlooked in a standard 15-minute checkup. And this brings us to the final and perhaps the most critical mistake. This is the biggest reason seniors remain deficient despite trying their hardest. It is the mistake of trying to push a pill through a door that has been welded shut. We talked earlier about how B12 is high maintenance. Well, the most critical part of its journey happens in the stomach, where your body produces a special protein called intrinsic factor. I want you to imagine intrinsic factor as a ferry boat. The B12 arrives at the dock of your stomach. It must get on the ferry boat to cross the river into the bloodstream. If there is no ferry, there is no crossing. Here is the sad biological reality. As we age, the cells in our stomach lining that build these ferry boats start to die off. It is a natural part of aging, and it is accelerated by the atrophic gastritis we mentioned earlier. For many seniors, intrinsic factor production drops to near zero. This means you could swallow the highest quality, most expensive B12 pill in the world, but if the ferry isn't running, that pill is staying on the dock. It will travel through your intestines and leave your body. You absorb nothing. This is why you can take a pill every day and still have numbness in your feet. The delivery system is broken. So, what do you do when the front door is locked? You use the side window. You need to bypass the digestive system entirely. For most seniors, the absolute game changer is switching to sublingual B12. These are lozenges or liquid drops that you place under your tongue. Why under the tongue? Because the area beneath your tongue is a rich network of tiny capillaries, microscopic blood vessels that sit right near the surface of the skin. When you hold the B12 there for 30 seconds to a minute, it absorbs directly into those vessels and goes straight into your bloodstream. It doesn't need stomach acid. It doesn't need the intrinsic factor ferry boat. It skips the drama of the digestive tract completely. It is a direct injection of fuel to your brain without the needle. However, if you have severe symptoms, if you are already experiencing balance issues, significant memory loss, or painful tingling, sublingual might not be enough to catch up. In that case, you need to go one step further. You need to ask your doctor for B12 injections. A shot into the muscle puts the vitamin 100% into your system immediately. It is the gold standard for rapid recovery, and many seniors report feeling like a fog has lifted after just a few treatments. It is easy to feel betrayed by your body as you get older, to feel like the fatigue, the brain fog, and the weakness are just inevitable taxes we pay for a long life. But often, it is not age. It is just mechanics. It is a missing molecule that your body has lost the ability to process. If you have been feeling off, if you have been feeling like you are fading a little bit, I want you to try this protocol for 30 days. Consider it an experiment for your brain. First, check your bottle. If it says cyanocobalamin, throw it out. It isn't worth your liver's time. Get the methylcobalamin. Second, stop swallowing pills. I switch to a sublingual dissolvable tablet or liquid drops to bypass your stomach. Third, up the dose. Aim for that 1,000 microgram mark to ensure you are getting enough. And finally, protect it. Keep it far away from your coffee cup. You might be surprised at how much youth you still have left in you once your nerves actually get the fuel they have been screaming for. Health isn't just about taking supplements. It's about absorbing them. It is about understanding the vessel you live in. Thank you for listening. This is not just about a vitamin. It is about reclaiming your quality of life. Take care of your body. Be smart about your routine, and never settle for feeling just okay when the solution might be right under your tongue.